Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. We ask that everyone come to their seats, please, so we can get the program started. How you doing? Thanks for coming to the third annual Baltimore Basketball Media Day. And right now, I'm Rob Long from 105.7 The Fan and from Masson. I'm also a high school basketball coach here at Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Baltimore. We'd like to introduce our coaches who are here for us today. First, from Coppin State University, Juan Dixon. Excuse me, when we call you, come up and take your seats, please. From Loyola, Tavares Hardy. You probably want to go this way. You probably want to go all the way down to my left. It's easy to get in that way. Yes, just walk this way. First year coach from Morgan State University, Kevin Brodus. From Mount St. Mary's, Dan Ingolstadt. From Naval Academy, Ed DeChellis. The veteran of the bunch, from Towson University, Pat Scarry. And from UMBC, Ryan Odom. Once again, give our men's coaches a hand. We're going to start off with questions with the men's coaches. First of all, I'd like to start off with Coach Gary. Coach Gary, this is what, year number, 10?
It's 9.
9?
First year was like dog years, though.
What's different about this year coming into 2019? I almost forgot what year it was.
No, I think it's obviously exciting with the start of the season, Rob. It's a little bit different because it's not that October 15th start date. You've been around guys all summer and fall, and practices start earlier. But I mean, this time of year is always exciting because you're working with kids every day, and you think you have a chance to have a good ball club.
Right. Juan Dixon from Coppin University. It seems like, I guess, me coaching in the Catholic League, I was bumping elbows with you a lot. How was local recruiting this year?
It's going well. We were able to land a couple of grad transfers here in Maryland, but we're extremely excited about our bunch. The goal was to recruit locally, but we try to get the best available, and I was able to land some pretty good recruits this year.
Going over to Morgan University, Kevin Brodus, first year as the head coach. Coming from Maryland, what was the biggest challenge coming from one of the Power 5 conferences to the MEAC?
The biggest challenge for us, a lot of guys up here have been at the Big 5 conference, is knowing who you can recruit. You got to, as the saying is, you got to get in where you fit in, and you don't recruit the same guy, the same talent as you do at the top, at the Power 5, but it's some good players at every level, so you just got to identify the right ones.
Going over to UMBC, Ryan Odom. Now, you talk about the challenges of recruiting. You just heard Coach Brodus say that, but you've been the proverbial mountaintop, and the program had a lot of exposure just a couple of years ago. Has that changed recruiting for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it certainly has in a positive way. It's definitely changed for us. We don't necessarily have to explain who we are anymore. Folks, are familiar with us now. But, it doesn't change the fact that they still have to visit the campus. It has to fit them. Certainly, they have to fit us as well. And so it's a balance there. And you just do the best that you can and try to go out and find the right student athletes to fit your program.
First-year coach Tavares Hardy from Loyola University. What are you looking forward to this year as the men's basketball coach in Baltimore?
Yeah, so second year
Second year, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just finished my first year, and I thought we did a good job laying a foundation. That's what we were locked in on. Want to make sure we got the culture where it needed to be, recruited the guys we need to recruit, but also take care of the guys that we knew we would have for a few years. And so I think we're in a good spot. All we're focused on right now is taking the next step. I like the guys we got coming back. We returned 95% of our scoring from last year, and we got a really good recruiting class coming in, so I'm really excited.
I wouldn't know it was your second year, but women's coach Joe Logan used to invite me over all the time. He doesn't do that anymore, so I wouldn't know that. I'll just come over. You can invite me. It'll be all right. Let's go to Mount St. Mary's, Dan Ingolstadt.
Yeah, just really excited about our group. We were the youngest team in America last year with no juniors or seniors, and it's been a great reward to see them grow up. Every day coming in the gym, it's fun being around them and seeing the growth, and looking forward to a really exciting year. And like Coach Hardy said, we're just focused on trying to lay the foundation and keep improving every day.
Ed DeChellis, being a coach at one of the service academies. I mean, we talk about the challenges of recruiting from the non-Power 5 conferences. What are some of the challenges that you face?
Well, it's a little different. The fit, as Ryan talked about, is really important. Everybody's recruitable, but who can you get? Who can accept the challenge of coming to play at the academy for 4 years and then serving their country for 5? That's the sort of the differential of kids at times. They love the campus, they love what we're doing, but do they want to be, a naval officer for 5 years? And that's where the separation hits. But we've been fortunate to recruit good players who are great kids, obviously, and who want to serve. I'm really excited about our team. We've got 3 starters returning from last year's team, and everybody's improved. So we're looking for an exciting year.
Because with the service academy, it's not a 4-year commitment; it's a 9-year commitment. And
Yeah, 4 and 5.
yeah. So I
You're
guess
pretty
when
good
you're
at math,
17 years old, it's hard to you think about what you're gonna do for the next 9 years of your life.
Well, it is, but everybody's going to school for 4 years, so we talk about that. And then the 5 is a little difficult sometimes for young guys to swallow, that they don't know if they want to tie up 5 years of their life. But we've been fortunate to get good players who really want to do that and who want to serve, so we're really proud of that.
Juan, going back to you, you played college basketball on a high level, and there are a lot of rules and culture changes. How is college athletics different now than it was in the early part of this millennium when you played?
It's a big difference. A lot of rule changes. I remember back then there was no unlimited meals when I was in school. Being a student athlete, just the culture is a little bit different, with the social media and things like that. I really enjoy coaching our guys here at Coppin. And, every day we just try to strive to get better.
Pat, is 5 Division I college basketball teams in Baltimore Metro alone. What kind of challenges did that face? Because not only are you going up against national schools, you're going up against 4 other schools in your own backyard.
I mean, the one thing you realize, every team has good players. There's 352 schools out there. So if you're not ready to play, guys know up the table you're going to get beat. It doesn't matter who you play, non-conference, whether it's in your league or not. So it makes recruiting competitive. It's why the profession's hard. You got to get good players. You got to keep them. You got to stay healthy, and then you got to have a little bit of good fortune, Rob.
Kevin, you come from also a level where you know what the one and done is all about. Now you're on a level where you're not going to get any one and dones, most likely, unless it's one and done because they just decided not to play anymore. How does having seniors versus players that come in for 1 or 2 year benefit you more?
Well, you like to get old as a college team. And when you have one and dones, it depends on the level. When you're at the highest level, if you have a one and done, he's probably pretty good, NBA, overseas, or D-League. Now you come to this level, you can get a one and done, transfer,
right,
or someone you don't want in your program. It's all relative, but one and done could actually hurt your program more so than help you. Getting older, like we probably all would like to do, gives you a chance to have guys 3-4 years, and it gives you a better chance at winning because you build a program, you build camaraderie, you build, you're just building. You're building, and you're building for a goal. So I think it's better to get old. And, You know, a lot of these guys have been at the same level, the highest level.
Right.
They can tell you it's not always a good thing having one and dones, because one and dones have an ulterior motive all the time. You want guys to buy into your program, and that's what we're looking for.
For the record, we all want to get old. We want the college players to get old. We don't want to get old.
Oh, no,
we
it's
don't.
nothing wrong with getting old. staying on this earth, getting old, and if you're doing it right, it's a good thing.
I want to throw this question out to everybody because I don't want to put anybody on the spot. One of the things that's coming out right now with college athletics is the quote-unquote pay-for-play. College athletes being able to market their own names, images, and likeness. We know some of the high-level college basketball teams will benefit from this probably, but when you read something like that or hear something like that, how does that directly affect you being mid-major programs? Anybody? Anybody?
Yeah, so I see it from a few different angles. First and foremost, the risk of it is we all know that there's certain schools who will do whatever it takes from a recruiting standpoint to get something done. And if not the actual school, the people who support that school. And so that's where the biggest challenge is. How do you do it in a way where it's fair, where people aren't abusing it, still allowing these student athletes to get what they need, but not letting people take advantage of them. And I think as a former broke college student athlete, personally, and I try to explain this to my guys, we have the debate. I listen to their opinion, of course, but I personally wouldn't want my degree devalued by getting paid. I had opportunities before I was coaching to work in the business world, and there were people who looked at me in a way that, okay, this young man went through the grind of being a student athlete. He was a true student athlete, did internships, worked hard in the classroom, earned his scholarship. And I just feel like a lot of those people would look at me differently if I was paid for play. And so I personally wouldn't want my degree devalued. But I also remember being broke and hungry, and if there's an opportunity to get a little paper, I would have took it.
We all do. I mean, ramen noodles were like, you know, I mean, you had ramen noodles and then you would put the eggs and onions in there, and that was a delicacy. I mean, that's what it was being a college athlete, a broke college athlete. Ryan, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think it's a very complicated topic. Obviously, it's a hot topic right now. I think we all would agree. We want to do more for our student athletes. I mean, I think that's an obvious thing. You go back to you heard Juan talk about it. Back when he was in college, things have totally changed from when he was in college to where they are now, and we're constantly focusing on trying to do more for the overall student athlete. But I think you can't forget about. We think so much about football and so much about basketball. You can't forget about the other sports too. Mm-hmm. And so I think there's that side of it. There could be some unnecessary impacts on those sports as well, which I don't think that we all would agree. I think we would agree that we would not want that. But it's it is a topic that. Certainly we need to continue to discuss. And, I think we do have great leadership, in the NCAA. I think they'll figure out what the right way to go with this is. But it is a dangerous time. There are plenty of, ironically, KJ and I, my player here, we were talking about it on the way over here. And, there's plenty of students, regular students that have nothing to do with athletics that leave college with, huge loans, $60,000, $70,000 in loans, which, is a tough deal. They're having to start out their lives with these huge debts. And, lucky for us or for student athletes now, they're lucky enough to get a Division I scholarship. They're not going to have that, at the end. And, so I think that's a positive. I'm not saying that we don't need to do more. We do. We need to continue to make it better. But, I think paying for play is in my mind, a tough thing.
Ed, Mr. Morris last year, NEC Rookie of the Year, 15 points a game. What has he done in the offseason to improve upon those numbers?
Yeah, I think our collective group has done a really good job of elevating themselves, Votto being one of them. We're really looking for him to enhance his leadership. So that's something we talked a lot about is his consistency and leadership and really trying to take that next step. He is as talented as there is with the ball in his hands. And for him, we need him to continue to work on his ability to catch and shoot. So that's one of the areas of focus as a basketball player that we've had him work on. But just overall leadership, and I'm really proud of the strides that he's made so far.
That's good. Ed, last year, Colgate, Bucknell, tough teams in your conference. What have you done to close the gap between you and them?
Well, I think we were fortunate enough to beat both teams last year. We're not that far away, but we haven't gotten there yet. We've been in the semifinals, I think, 4 of the last 5 years in our tournament. We just got to take the next step is getting to the finals and trying to win the darn thing. So, you can't worry about what the other guys are doing. You got to kind of take care of yourself. So we've tried to improve our team and improve our players. I think they have improved. We've got great chemistry with our team. So we're excited about the season. But both teams are very talented. Like Loyola, there are a lot of talented teams in our league. It's just who can play well in those at the end of March, or beginning of March, and who's hot. And so we hope to be one of those teams.
Pat, you returned 10 players from last year's team. How does that benefit you for 2019-20?
We'll find out pretty soon, won't we? Yeah, hopefully good. I like the group. They've worked hard. We have to have pretty good awareness, Rob, moving forward. Just because you played a lot last year doesn't mean you get to play a lot this year. But we got Brian Fobbs with us today, who's, he's as good a worker as we've had in my 8 years at Towson. He's made a big jump physically and a big jump in his game. I think he's done a good job setting the tone for us. So, like I said, we'll find out. We've got an aggressive schedule early, and we'll figure out where we're at heading into what we know will be a tough conference season.
Ryan, another 20-win season, finished 25th in the nation in scoring defense. What kind of excitement can we expect this year over there in Western Baltimore County?
Yeah, we're excited about the season. We have several guys back from last year. Obviously, KJ Jackson, who's here with me now, is a great senior leader. We're excited about the newcomers, that have joined our program. We feel good about where they're at. The defense was certainly something that carried us last year. We're hoping we can, improve our offense this year and maintain and even make our defense a little bit better to give us a better chance to win. We've got a tough conference. Vermont, has kind of been the gold standard in our conference, and really good program. Becker's done a great job. Coach Becker's done a great job up there. And, we fell short in the championship game last year at their place. And, we're excited about, the opportunity to try to compete for it again. And, we feel like we've got a good team. And, but, again, it's really, really early. And you have to have good fortune, like Coach was saying. Stay healthy, and things kind of have to fall right for you.
Juan, first time in a long time, almost 20 years that you've had open up the season with a Division I opponent here on the campus. That's got to create a lot of excitement around campus.
Absolutely. We have a competitive Rider team coming in November 5th. We played them pretty tough last year in their building. They ended up blowing the game open at the end, but, with the leadership of our point guard, DeJuan Clayton, some of the pieces that we've added, some grad transfers, and we're super excited about our season. We've upgraded in talent, offensively, defensively. We've always been a pretty sound team. And I also think we added some size. So we're extremely excited about opening up here at home, and hopefully everyone comes down to support.
Kevin, you've seen big rivalries, but you've never seen Copp and Morgan. You looking forward to that one?
Well,
I'm trying to be Don King, yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. Juan and I go back, known him for a long time. So his athletic director, we grew up together. So rivalries, what you guys see it as, we just look at it as friendly competition. And that's just 2 games on our schedule. We're trying to win them all. So we're not going to just sit back and wait to play Copp, and that's not what it's about. It's about trying to win as many as you can when you can.
Tavares, tell us a little bit about Loyola this year.
Yeah, so unique year 2, the balance on our roster I'm really excited about. We have 3 seniors, 3 juniors, 3 sophomores, 4 freshmen. You don't really see that type of balance this early. All of our returners played a lot for us. We returned Andrew Kosteka, Patriot League first-team guy last year, averaged 21 a game. He and Zion Williamson had the same numbers in terms of points and steals, so excited to get him back. But two other seniors in his class, Chuck Champion, who's joining us today, double-figure scorer returning, and Kavan Scott, who is our starting five. You know, we got a nice eclectic group. The recruiting class we have coming in is, I don't know if you guys have paid much attention, but it's gotten some nice pub. We have two international kids, Spanish kids, who were starters on the, well, one was a starter, one was a sub for the under-18 European Championship team. And Santi Aldama got the MVP of that tournament. So just really excited about what he brings. He's 6'11", skillful, can really score the ball. Golden DK, 6'9", strong power player. So being able to combine those guys with the guys we have returning is really exciting.
Ladies and gentlemen, give another hand to our men's basketball coaches. Now let's introduce our women's coaches from Coppin University, Dwayne Barrels. From Loyola, Joe Logan. Morgan State University, Ed Davis. From Navy, Stephanie Pemmer. From Towson, Diane Richardson. And from UMBC, Janetta Hayes. I want to start off with Coach Richardson. Coach Richardson, big jump last year. You ladies really turned it around. Excited to see. I had a chance to see you a couple of times last year. What was the biggest difference between last year and the year you took from when you took a program over?
Well, I think the biggest change was the culture change and, you know, just instilling in them the will to win. And that carried it throughout the season. We had a tough schedule to check on their resiliency, and they performed well. I was pretty pleased, and we took that into the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it was an exciting season for you guys. UMBC, Janetta Hayes, your thoughts on basketball, college basketball, women's college basketball in this area, and what are you excited and looking forward to?
I'm excited to see not only my team compete, but the teams in the area compete. I think that's going to be really important, so we'll have an understanding not only for our conference, but what the area holds in general. I am really familiar with Townsend. I recruited some of those kids that came to her from being down in Texas, so I'm really thrilled just to get started, but more so to see each of my opponents in the area, and it is opponents from a recruiting standpoint, compete.
Now, I know for a fact that I can say welcome to Baltimore with you. I got it wrong here because my daughter played against UMBC last year.
Okay.
So I know for a fact I can say welcome to Baltimore to you.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Loyola, Joe Logan.
Yeah, for the record, you're always invited to Loyola.
You never personally invited me again. But
I remember when you used to invite me onto your radio show, and that stopped as well. So, no, it's going to be another great year here. We last year had a great game down at Towson. Navy's in our league. We scrimmaged Morgan. And it's just exciting. I wish that we could all play each other as we talk about every year. Want to welcome everyone to Baltimore from UMBC. But from our standpoint, we're kind of middle-aged. We have 5 or 6 freshmen, one of them being a redshirt, and then 6 seniors. So we're going to find out really quick where we stand as far as going out to Notre Dame and Northwestern. So we'll know that opening weekend where we are and what we need to do. But excited for the start of the season.
Stephanie, where's Navy in terms of where you stand in the Patriot League, a very tough women's basketball league?
Yeah, last year was a really strong year in the league. You know, we're trying to get back to kind of that top 4, you know, where we've been for much of the last 11 years. You know, Boston University's got a lot coming back. You know, Joe over at Loyola is going to be really strong. You know, Lehigh. You know, we have a little chip on our shoulder, you know, from last season, not having the kind of season that we wanted to have. And we're fortunate to have 4 really committed seniors that I think are doing a great job in the locker room and kind of getting people focused on, you know, the little things and what's important to be one of the better teams in the Patriot League.
Ed, 8-8 in the MEAC last year. What's coming back this year to improve upon that record?
Bodies. Last year we played the entire season with 8 players, and
You said 8?
yeah.
Okay.
And for me, I was thoroughly pleased with the performance of the girls because not only did they play to stay in at least 500 in the conference, but they played Maryland, Michigan, and Georgia pretty tough. Just the bodies at the end and the athleticism of the other teams took over. But for me, we have 10 new players, and I'm very excited. They're not just players, they're hungry, and I love hungry kids. So it's going to be, for me, a challenge, and we also have the return of Chelsea Mitchell, who played for me as a sophomore. She's back this year, and I'm very elated to have this team that I think they just want to play. We just want to be rough. We just want to play basketball. So we're looking for a new style from us. Some of the old stuff I had at Dell, but just have those players that fit my personality right now.
Now, Dwayne, last year you had an opening round win against Morgan, and even though they like to say it's not a rivalry, you went to the quarterfinals games. How did that win, that upset, help this team moving forward? Because sometimes it's how you finish the year that sets the tone for the very next year.
Well, I think that win was huge for for our program, for where we were at the time. With the leadership I have with me today, Chance Graham, she stepped up and played well in that game. And the Morgan Coppin rivalry, to me, it's a rivalry. Mm-hmm. It has been because I was a student here at Coppin. It was a rivalry then, and nothing much has changed. That's one game that everybody look forward to on the schedule. But like Coach Broder said, there's more than just those 2 games that we have to play. So I just think that game prepared us for this season. It gave us the insight for the returning players that we can go into the tournament and make some noise. And I just think with the crew that we have coming back this year, with the leadership of Chance, we have a transfer Aaliyah Lawson from Tallahassee Community College. I just think we're going to go take our program to an entirely different level. We have a big post player inside, Jalinda Sally, who's a sophomore now, who's doing extremely well in practice. Of course, I'm pushing her to do a little bit more. I always think she can do better than what she's doing. She can be lazy at times. But for the most part, I think we're in a good place. The freshman class we have coming that is a very good class. And, we have some kids who can handle the ball, who can shoot the ball, who can put some numbers on the board. So as long as we can stop some people defensively, I think we'll be pretty good.
I'm glad you brought up the defense because you talked about Chance Graham. Very interesting with her. She was the MEAC Defensive Player of the Year, but she's also a kid who's already scored 1,000 points. That's a complete player. How does she impact your roster?
Well, I expect Chance to get better and better each year, and she has. So this is her senior year, so I wouldn't expect anything less. Not only does she already have 1,000 points, but she has 899 rebounds, so she'll probably get 1,000 rebounds as well, which will be the first here in Coppin school history for a female basketball player to have 1,000 points and 1,000 rebounds. So I'm looking forward to her senior year. I think she's excited about it. She's been very encouraging in practice and encouraging all the other players as well. So I think she's excited. I'm looking forward to her doing well.
Joe, you've been at Loyola for a long time, man. I mean, how many years now?
You're 15.
You're 15. You're 15. How much has the girls/women's basketball landscape changed in those 15 years? How much have you had to adjust?
When you sit here and think about it, you don't really think it has.
Right.
But then when you go back and maybe you're talking to some of your alumni now who are married, who have kids, and they're asking about practice and their schedule and all those things, you're like, wow, yeah, a lot's changed. So without really having time to reflect on it, I think it's changed for the better. As Coach was saying, we don't practice on October 15th anymore. We have summer access. Recruiting has changed tremendously. We're recruiting younger and younger and younger. So, 15 years ago, right now, we'd probably have some juniors and seniors going on their official visits, or seniors at that time. And we would be just getting excited for next week to start practice and have the whole team together because we would have only had 4 players at a time. So that's a major change. I think the start of the season now has become about games. So everyone now is looking forward to, November, first week in November, first weekend in November, where we're going to be able to go out and play games. So that's changed. But I think the kids, too, they're just playing more. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that it's something that we have to manage over the summer. They're playing hundreds and hundreds of games, and then we get them, and we have to be mindful of, their load. You hear that name a lot. What's our load management? And then the last thing that I'll say is, and this is at Loyola, it's Mental Health Week. I think that's really changed, whereas in the past it's been, as Ed's saying, kids that fit his personality. I think that toughness and that way you want to play. We also have to manage people's mental well-being that has changed over the last several years.
Stephanie, you just heard Joe talk about how the season has changed now, and it's forever. It goes on and on and on. I went to basic training, but I never went to a service academy. How does that, because they have a different lifestyle, does that put you behind the 8 ball? Because he's saying how it was an advantage for him. Do you see that as the same advantage for you being at a service academy?
Is what an advantage?
Just having, practice and being able to go year-round.
Oh, yeah, and summer school and having access to them in the summer, getting some skill workouts. I think so. For us, the degree to which they love basketball, really makes a difference, I think, in the quality of everyone's experience, and the success of our program. And so, anytime we can get on the court and improve skill and kind of improve chemistry, I think it's great. We want, for a long time, Navy women's basketball players have said that kind of basketball practice is the highlight of their day. It's what they look forward to the most. That's important. We want to keep that. And obviously, with young people today, they have so many opportunities and options, and they're very interested in sort of what's best for them, big picture. And so the degree to which we can continue to have women who really enjoy basketball and enjoy being a part of a team and caring about that chemistry and being a part of something bigger than themselves is really critical to our success and just to being a fulfilling experience, I think, for all of us.
Jonetta, you went all the way from Texas Southern University, almost cross-country, to Baltimore, Maryland. What attracted you? What caught your eye and your heart pretty much about UMBC?
I had a chance to meet some amazing young ladies. One who's sitting here today, Tyler Moore. She's one of the big voices, not only of women's basketball, but of UMBC athletics. And to know what she wanted for her program, for her teammates, and I had a chance to meet the president and administrators, and then I walked into this amazing arena that's brand new. The resources were unbelievable as well. So it was definitely a package. It was a great package for me to uproot my daughters and move here.
Yeah. Ed, tell me all about Morgan this year, and you're looking at challenging. Who's your biggest challenge in the MEAC this year?
Well, you can't really pick challenge in the MEAC because everybody, it's one of those conferences like I guess everybody else has on a night-to-night basis. You got to come to play because top to bottom, the best teams can lose, especially. The big thing is to defend home. Worst you can come out is 8-8. But at the top, you definitely have North Carolina A&T and Bethune. But you also have teams, if you watched Dwayne last year, second round, almost got them. So it becomes a thing where the MEAC is so well balanced. It just depends on who's going to show up that night and who wants it more, especially right around February. That's when you get an opportunity to see who's winning. And I tell our kids, we cannot lose in February. So the MEAC is a very strong opportunity. So that conference is wide open, so let me just leave it with that.
Towson had a great year in the CAA last year, and we saw on the men's side how a team from a mid-major conference can go from just being a good team in their conference to national prominence. Do you feel you have the resources at Towson, Coach, not only players but everything around you, to become one of those programs that can become a national program?
I really do. I think so. Obviously, we've got a great administrative staff that gives us all the resources we need. And with that, we went out and recruited players to give us depth and give us more, more scoring, more defense. And I think with the resources that our administrators have given us and the competition in the CAA last year, 3 teams in the CAA were top 25 mid-majors. So that tells you the competition level. So we had to up our game and go out and do skill development and go out and get players. We've added 7 new players this year to give us depth to our returning 4 starters. So, we returned most of our offense, but now we've got some depth. And I think the resources allowed us to do that, to add to Nakaya Mayo, who was the most outstanding player in the conference, to give her, and I told Nakaya and Q Mary and those players, I said, listen, I'm going to go out and get you some help. You're not going to play 35 minutes a game. And we did that. And I see that we've got more depth, we've got more skill, and I think we can make a run to be tops in the country.
Do you all, again, I'll leave this up for everybody to answer this one on the women's side. Do you find that women's basketball players now are more skilled and more committed to their craft than they were, say, 15, 20 years ago?
I've got to say, I've been in this area, in the DMV area, and have coached 25 years in this area, and I've seen just an explosion of women and girls basketball. And like Joe said, they are younger. They're out on the playgrounds now and younger and in gyms and with trainers and all that other stuff. And so we look at now, we can pick and choose players that fit our style because there are more out there. And with the, explosion of the WNBA and things like that, I think we are seeing more skilled athletes.
Yeah. Jonette, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a great thing. I think there are more opportunities now. Not that we were just limited before, but because of the exposure, they're creating more opportunities for young ladies to have a chance to play, to do skill development, and travel with teams and things of that nature. So it's just opening up more doors.
Joe Logan, it's only you and me in here. Nobody else is listening. No one else. If there's one game on your schedule that you circle and you say you can't wait, what game is that?
It's going to sound cliche, but we open up at Notre Dame. And, it's a game where you're going to find out where you stand. But then when you get into conference, certainly Navy, right? But no, I think it's about finding out where you are non-conference. And we're going to play a tough non-conference just like everybody up here is going to do. But when you get into that conference, and I'll agree with that again, like February, I don't know who we're playing in February or what our schedule looks like, but that's when those are the games you look forward to. You find out who's with you. You find out who's done the work in the non-conference and in the early part of the conference, and it's going to carry you into March. So that's the exciting time of the year. But right now, it's not just the next game, but going out to Notre Dame, I think it's going to be a great experience for our kids, and we'll certainly find out where we are. They graduated 5 starters who all went to WNBA, so they'll be finding out a little bit too. So we'll see.
They have 5 more starters that are going to the WNBA. Stephanie, same question for you. One game.
Other than Army?
Yeah.
No, yeah, I mean, I agree with Joe. We open at Clemson, who was an NCAA tournament team, and then we go to North Carolina to play. And we have a tough road trip up to Vermont and Maine, 2 good America East teams. And, Maine has been a really strong program. And so our non-conference is outstanding. We're hosting UMBC and at our tournament. We always look forward to that over Thanksgiving. So our non-conference is going to have all of our attention and make us not think about Army.
Ladies and gentlemen, our women's college basketball coaches. Our coaches will be available for questions of the media. I've taken way too much time as it is. Thank you so much for coming.